Welcome to the YouTube channel of Nasai's Eyes Makeup Artistry, where you're getting videos every single Tuesday of every single week. Alright, so let's get started. In this video, you'll learn some eyeshadow techniques, highlighting, contouring, a whole lot of stuff. But I've already cleansed, moisturized, and primed my face, so we're going to start with our eyebrows. Alright, so like we did in our last video, we're going to brush our eyebrows, make sure all the hairs are going in one direction, so we start off with a neat set of brows. I take my brown eyeliner pencil and I'm using that to line the arch of my brow, making sure that I'm only using soft, small strokes so I don't have too much product on my brows. I also do the same thing to the other side, trying to keep them as even as possible. But also remember, your brows are not created equal. You can try really hard to get them as close as you can get them, but sometimes it's just not the same. So you do what you can to make them as close as possible. Using my angled brush and my Motives eyebrow kit, I go in and start to fill in my eyebrows. If you need more information about how I do my eyebrows or what products I use, they'll be below. Or you can also look at last Tuesday's video. And remember, always start with a little bit of product. You don't want to put too much and then it ends up being the focal point of your face. You want your face to all show up in the room all at one time, not just your eyebrows seen or your eyelashes seen. So always make sure that you start off with a little bit, and if you need to add more, add a little bit more, but always start small. Now we got to get to work on this other brow. So you take a little bit of product and you fill in those brows to make sure everything looks even as possible. And don't forget, you always use the biggest part of the brush on the biggest part of your brow. So the inner part of your eyebrow, you use the biggest part of the brush. When you're getting towards the tip of your eyebrow, you're using the smallest part of the brush. And yes, you are not going crazy. I am talking. Through the regular video, my 7-year-old was asking me tons of questions as I was trying to get this look together. So periodically you may see me talking, but just know we get the face done. So yes, you can do this when a child is there as well. Time to conceal. So now we take our angled brush and our LA Girl Pro Concealer, a light color, usually 1 or 2 shades lighter than you. And you fill in under your brow, so that makes your eyebrow pop because you have a dark color next to a light color. And what I like to do is fill in my whole eye, and that works as a base for when I'm ready to put on any type of eyeshadow. So take your time, fill in, and prepare for amazing brows. Sometimes you may just have to go back to the angled brush that you did for your brows to maybe fill in a little bit of that dark color where you may have gotten a little bit of concealer on your brow. That's completely fine. Like I said, usually if you use a little bit of product, then you can fix without having to take everything off and start over. So just touch up where you may have gotten a little bit of concealer where your brows have been filled in, and then just keep going. Alright, so now it's time to tame that other eyebrow. So what we're going to do is use the concealer that we already have on our hand that we use as a palette, and dip into the concealer and start sculpting that other eyebrow, same way we did the first brow. Making sure that we get a little bit of product, not too much, fill in where we need to, and then add more if needed. So to be sure that I don't waste any product, I went ahead and used concealer around the bridge of my nose. And now you see me patting in the concealer. In the video before, I said that you can either use a brush to do this, or you can take a wedge and start to seal in the concealer and start getting some of the excess that you may not need off. We're just sealing in that concealer on our eyes using our translucent powder. All you got to do is make sure that you are getting all of your eye when you are using your translucent powder. And then this also, as I said before, it helps to avoid cracking of your eyeshadow that you're going to use. You're actually going to get about 2 looks in one, so stay tuned. Alright, now time to add some eyeshadow. So what I am doing now, I had some mailing labels laying around, and I wasn't using them for anything because they have an old address on them. So I use that to help make my lines precise when I'm doing my eyeshadows. If you'd like to do it this way, you can. Some people go ahead and put their eyeshadow on and just use a wipe and maybe get the rest of any excess off, but it's completely up to you. Now we're adding our concealer on the top of the eyebrow. This is more of a concealer that's about the same complexion as you, just so you're not highlighting your whole forehead. So make sure when you're adding this concealer that you are, 1, having a concealer that's about the same complexion as you, and number 2, make sure you're blending very well. And as always, you do the same thing to the other side. And just as we did with the lid of our eye, we're also doing the same thing with on top of our eyebrow. We're taking that wedge and we're blending in that concealer. Alright, now it's time to start playing with some eyeshadows. All of the eyeshadows that I'll be using are from Bovanti. The first color that I am using is called Martini Olive. Bovanti's eye shimmers are very pigmented, so all you'll need to do is, for heightened intensity, just keep packing it on. Currently, I am using a blending brush that I actually got from Bovanti when I did one of their makeup classes. Alright, so I snuck in an additional color, a transition color. It's almost going towards a burnt orange, but not quite. It is from the Coastal Scents 88 Original Palette. It is the third from the top and third from the right. I almost feel like I'm doing some kind of geographic something. But hopefully that helps you find it just a little bit easier. Now we're going in with Bovanti's Caribbean Sea Eye Shimmer. And we're starting that color in the middle of our eye towards the outer part of the eye. Building colors. As you can see, the corner of our eye makes a V. So we're taking the color Bell Bottom Blue and we're putting that in the V of our eye. And once we have a little bit of that color already on our eye, we're going to spread that blue out to the top of where we started the other colors to help blend it into those other colors as well. Next, you can see I've switched brushes. This is a bigger brush, but it is still a blending brush to help blend in the Bell Bottom Blue into the color that we used from the Coastal Scents palette. And all we're doing now is going in with our blending brush and blending out our transition color with that Bell Bottom Blue. And now we're taking the Bovanti Mineral Eyes Eye Shimmer color Buff and putting that right under the brow to make that pop. In comes our liquid eyeliner by Palladio. Alright, as you're lining your eye, the tape or mailing label that you decide to use for your straight edge is also helping with making sure that you have a winged line. So it's completely up to you if you want to extend that line all the way out so you have a wing, or you can go straight until the end of your eye. This is pretty much this eye color look. I am going to glam it up just a little bit, but you can definitely leave out of the house with just this look for your eyes. You can add your foundation, add your highlight, add your contour, but this is just one eye concept that you can do. Now we're going to add a little bit of glitter. Now what you see me doing is adding on the adhesive, the glue for the glitter. I'm only adding it to my lid and extending it out just a little above where the liner stops. This is a glitter from Rumio. It is 6 colors that come in this pack, and I got it off of Amazon. It's 6 different colors, eye loose glitter. You can use it for your body, you can use it for your nails, but of course this is makeup, so I'm going to definitely use it for my eyes. I'm using a very thin brush to put on the glitter. I'm putting that glitter right above where my eyeliner is, but right on my lid. So anywhere that you put that glue, make sure that's where you want the glitter to go because it will stick. Alright, newbie mistake, but guess what? We keep it moving. So what you see me doing now, I'm adding a dark shade for my contour. This concealer is about 2 to 3 shades darker than my complexion, but what you didn't see is me adding in the highlight. So the highlighter is the light color concealer that we used for the eyes at the very beginning. So that highlight is going to go on the cheeks, the bridge of the nose, upper lip, the chin, and also in the jawline, as well as the middle of the forehead. I am also adding, as you can see on the other side, the concealer, the darker color concealer, to the other side of my jawline above the light highlight under my bottom lip. We're also adding it to the bottom of my facial structure where that double chin sneaks in there. Yeah, we're going to add that so we can shadow out and look like it's not there as much. So we're adding it to that area of the face as well. And then what you'll also see is me adding some concealer, again the dark color, kind of where my chin area is, so that can be defined as well. Alright, so when you see people adding this darker color, this 2 to 3 shades darker to the face, these are the shadows of the face. So it's helping make that part of your face seem slimmer. So when you have the highlight in the center of your forehead, that is bringing attention to those lifted areas of your face. So you want to slim out those outsides and then highlight the main focus of your face. So we're getting right in the temple area, the top of the forehead, and the nose area to slim that nose out. And we're also going to make sure that we blend that once we get to it, okay? Here I'm starting to blend down that darker color to shadow that double chin. Make sure it's hiding for whenever we're ready to step out. So make sure as you're going across you bring that dark color down so you can't see where that dark color starts and where that dark color stops. Alright, so now we bring in our good old friend the wedge or beauty blender, whichever you have. And we're going to start buffing out our highlight for our cheeks, our forehead, upper lip, our chin. And we're also going to start blending out also where it is in the jawline as well. Make sure when you are starting to blend out your highlights and your concealers that you're tapping. You're not just rubbing across your face. You want to tap that into it, make it sink into your skin. Keep in mind, I haven't used any foundation as of yet. All of this is concealer. We are going to go in and add the foundation in a little bit, but I want to make sure that my highlight and my concealer are all in place. At this point during your makeup, you're starting to feel like you might be some part of the Lion King. So you might be Nala or Sarabi, Mufasa's boo, who knows, you know. But make sure when you are going through, you are trying not to combine your concealer and your highlighter. At least not just yet. You want to make sure you blend each separately. Alright, so now what we're doing, we're going in with our Ben Nye banana powder, and we're adding that banana powder to those highlighted areas. It's almost like when we did the concealer on the eye. This is also making sure that we seal in that highlight. Also helps with cracking to make sure that your highlight stays in place as well. So you take that Ben Nye banana powder and you put that on your highlighted areas. As you can see, as I get closer to the light, it is catching the light from the highlighted areas of my face. So it also kind of helps you realize those are the places where you want the light to hit. Believe me, you won't look like you're ashy and everything unless it's done wrong. But make sure when you do this, you hit the areas that your face are only lifted. Again, that's your cheeks, the bridge of your nose, your forehead. You're putting it in your jawline as well to contrast from your shadow for your jawline and your chin and your upper lip. So while that banana powder is sitting on your face, you can go in with your brush and start blending out where your contour is. So you want to make sure you can feel where your jaw opens. That's where that darker concealer should be going in between. That's going to give you that shadow to make you look like you have those amazing high cheekbones and just your face is amazing. Same thing with that chin. And you're also going to get in the middle of your cupid's bow. Instead of using a brush to blend your contour, you can also use a wedge or a beauty blender. Both of those will help you as far as making sure that you're getting those areas that are hard to reach. Make sure when you are using either the wedge or the beauty blender that you're using a separate section of it and you're using the right kind of beauty blender. For the highlight, make sure that you're only touching that area of the sponge. Switch it over if you're going to use that same sponge to get your contour. Okay? Now's the time for us to add in some foundation. By adding in the foundation right now, this is going to help make sure that we don't look like we're just shadowing and highlighting everywhere. This is going to help blend it all together. So what I'm going to start with doing first, I'm going to add some foundation in between where my highlights and my concealer is. And again, it's going to go in all those spots that there's not really much makeup, but we want to make sure we are concealed and highlighted, but we're also wanting to make sure that we look normal. And again, I like to put a little bit of foundation on my lips, and that's mainly to help my lipstick stay in place. Alright, so it's almost time for us to start blending it all together and have a full face on where we look like we can actually go out into society. So now I'm making sure that that foundation is blending right in between my highlight and my concealer for my forehead. Again, as far as highlighting and concealer, every way that everybody does it may not be for you. You have to figure out where those high points are in your face and those low parts are that you need to actually contour. And no, I don't believe everybody needs to highlight or contour every day. It just depends on you. If that's something that you want to do on an everyday basis, have at it. But most of the time, I don't think this is something that everyone needs to do. It kind of turned into a fad of everybody has to do it. But you don't have to if you don't want to. Just make sure you feel good about yourself however you do it. And we're blending. So now we're starting to blend all those colors together to make us look like we are just normal and the light just hits us perfectly wherever we go. So I am using a Kabuki brush by Sigma, and this brush is blending everything in. As you can see, I'm blending the contour and the highlight in all at the same time right now. and that's going to give it an even look. It's not going to make it look like here's where the contour stopped, here's the highlight started. You're going to make sure all of that looks normal, like this is just how your facial structure is. Now this blending, it is a workout. So your arms might get a little tired, but you want to make sure it's blended so whenever you go outside and the sun hits you, you don't see all the imperfections. You want to make sure everything is blended perfectly. So if you can do it, switch hands, but you may have to take a little break and go back at it. And I'm just going back in with a little bit of that banana powder on the bridge of my nose just to make sure that stays highlighted where I may have hit it a little bit or may have contoured just a little too much, just to make sure that still pops. Alright, so now I'm taking one of my Sigma brushes. Remember, I'll have the information below. Taking one of my Sigma brushes and blending out the highlights under my eyes, my chin, and the bridge of my nose, as well as my forehead. Just to blend it out so you can't see that it's a definite, oh, that's where the highlight is. So you want to blend it so everything looks even. And I decided to go back to my Kabuki brush just to make sure that I got all the excess powder for the banana powder off, as well as make sure everything is still blended, or if I needed to blend some more. So make sure that everything is to your liking before you step out. The best way to make sure that everything is blended correctly, make sure you have a good makeup light, or you're standing next to some natural light. So you may need to do your makeup by a window, or you may need to actually have a makeup light that may have a daylight setting, depending on if this is for day or night. So make sure you have the right kind of light to make sure that when you go outside, you're not looking completely different than when you were in the house. And now I'm going under my waterline, and I'm adding the same colors that I started with for my eyeshadow. I'll be adding them under my waterline just to bring the look all together. But I'll also be adding a black liner just to make sure those eyes pop as well. So just to recap, the eyeshadow that I used on my eye, in that same order that I started with, those eyeshadows went on my bottom waterline just to complete the eye look. Starting from the inner corner of the eye to the outer corner of the eye. Alright, so now I'll be adding on Mary Kay's brow gel. Brow gel is good to use if you want to make sure your eyebrows stay in place, as well as if you have eyebrows that seem to just go where they want to go. This keeps them where they need to be. Alright, so now we're going in with my favorite blush. It's called Shy Blush by Mary Kay. And I'm just going to dab that onto those cheekbones. And we're going to flip to the other side and get that cheekbone as well. For this look, I decided to try something a little different. I decided to add a highlight. So I got Aja Cosmetics Cream Liquid Highlighter. This is the color Snow, but it also comes in rose gold, Ivory, Magic, and Glam. And I'll have the link below so you can take a look at those colors and possibly order from this cosmetics line. So as you can see, I added this highlighter to every area that I added the concealer highlight just to make those areas pop when the light hits. And now I'm blending just to make sure it all goes together and it doesn't just look splotchy. Alright, so I decided to do something a little different. I decided to not go with a usual red lip, but to do a blue. So we're going to kind of do an ombre look. So this is a blue eyeliner that I'm using as a lip liner. Sometimes, you can use things for multi-purpose. You don't necessarily have to use something that's for the eye, directly for the eye. It may work better on the eye, but you can definitely use it in other ways. The best way that I've learned to line my lips or even put on lipstick is to make sure that you have a chapstick, a very lightweight chapstick on to help moisturize your lips. And then you can also do a fake smile with no teeth. So I always tell my clients, smile but do it with no teeth. Fake smile. And that seems like the hardest thing to do because we do it all the time when we're not really supposed to. But do a fake smile with no teeth and that'll help decrease the lines that are in your lips so you can get an even line across. To intensify the blue in the lip, I'm using a blue lipstick right in the areas where I put that blue lip liner. And I'm also going to add another product from Aja Lip Cream's lip cream line, and it is in the color Marine. We are finishing up this look. So I am using my Covergirl loose powder just to add some shimmer to my face. I love, 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 love their loose powder. So I add that all over. And after that, we're putting on lashes and some mascara, and we're about to close this thing on out. Alright, alright, alright. All we need to do now is add our mascara and our setting spray, and we are out the door. So all I need for you to do right now is make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, like, comment, share, and join me again next Tuesday.